The dog and I are here on the Huon River. We're down here at Franklin and we're standing next to the wreck of the Cartela. She sunk. The boat was built in 1912 up in Battery Point in the capital, and now she's here resting in the mud. Built by Purden and Featherstone for the Huon Channel and Peninsula Steamship Company. 194 tonne heavy, 37 metres long. She belonged to a time when Hobart and her extensions were reliant on estuary and coastal shipping for commerce, communication and transport. Her name, Cartela, sounds Spanish but is Tasmanian Aboriginal, meaning bull seal. Commandeered by the Defence Department in World War I as a naval examination vessel, protecting the port of Hobart. In the Second World War, she was used to tow targets for artillery practice. Ever reliant, she was used for decade on decade. And in 1975, when the Tasman Bridge collapsed, she was put into service to move people from one shore of the Derwent to the other. For quite the longest time, most people in Hobart had ridden the Cartela. In the later years, the ship became a function venue. In 2014, after more than a century of service, she was decommissioned and handed over on behalf of the people of Tasmania to the Steamship Cartela Trust, her current owner. Her arrival at Franklin was met with fanfare and optimism. Restoration was the vision, but that was an illusion. When in service, the boat was taken out of the water every year or so for maintenance. Since docking at Franklin, she was never put in the slips. Given the disagreeable natures of wood and water, the vessel has only fallen apart. And each year that has gone, the restoration work needed has increased, as has the cost. Exponential decline. Holes evolved. The boat did have a pump to remove the water that was getting in, but it stopped working. There was an alarm for redundancy, but this did not activate, and so she filled with water and sunk. To be taken out of the water now, all or most of the superstructure, parts above the hull, would need to be removed. Some say she may need to go back to Hobart to Battery Point to be repaired. She is likely the last of her kind in Australia, the final river steamer. At one point, the Cartela was one of many. The Exceller was built in the same year as the Cartela. Removed from service in 1965, she lay abandoned in the Prince of Wales Bay before being towed to Kettering for hypothetical repairs. Languishing in the mud behind the marina for years, she was eventually broken up. 25 kilometres from Rome, Lake Nemi is located in the crater of an extinct volcano. It was ringed with the palaces of Roman elites. By tradition and law, no man could sail upon the water, for it was sacred to the goddess Diana. This was until Caligula built at least 2 giant barges. One was 74 metres long, 23 metres wide. The other only slightly smaller. After the emperor's assassination in AD 41, the 2 boats fell into neglect and sunk. For almost 2,000 years, people dreamed and failed to recover the treasure from beneath. In 1928, Mussolini ordered those barges be recovered by any means. The lake was drained. It took years. But eventually, the barges could be lifted and they were taken away on a purpose-built railway. In 1936, the ships were put on display in their own museum. In 1944, during World War II, the Allies were shelling a nearby German artillery post, and fire somehow broke out in the museum. Flames destroyed both ships entirely. Ships, for the most part, are disposable objects. In February 2023, the state government announced a $1 million grant for the ship's restoration. Other money has come in too. Currently, it's claimed that it will cost $5 million to make it operational again, but this is not costed. It is a guesstimate. As things stand, there is a notion but it could be turned into a concept. And later, with even more money, there might be a plan. And at some point, further down the line, there could be action. People claim that they are going to save the Cartela. Well, they ain't saved her yet. Technically it can be done, but what is possible and what is reality are seldom the same thing.